immigration. Here's some numbers that we've seen. You've seen it, I've seen it, we've all seen it. 2016, these are the amount of migrant encounters at the southwestern border over the years from 2016 to 2024. I'm not giving you any numbers. You don't know. Both of you guys know this number. 2016, 415,000. 2017, 526. 2018, 683,000. 2019, 1.1 million. 2020 comes down to 646. Biden gets elected. 1.956 million. 2021, almost 2 million. Next year, 2022, 2.766 million. 2023, 3.201 million. 2024, year to date in the first 5 months, 2 million. 1.981 million people. This could be the first 4 million, and it's a record we broke last year. Nobody ever thought this was going to be taking place.
Just to be clear here, these are the numbers of border encounters. This is not the total number of people who have fled into the country. These are encounters that they have.
So I want to start off.
The real numbers are worse.
I want to start off with you. What do you think is the motive for leaving the border open to allow all of these folks to come in here? He has the ability to stop it. He knows it. People who are involved in politics, they also know it. He keeps saying he can't. Why do you think they're allowing the border to be wide open?
It's what his left flank wants. That's easy. It's what his left flank wants.
It's what his left flank wants.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what the progressive base of the party wants.
Why do they want it?
It's a mix of wanting to negate what Trump's policy was, right? Very common. One comes in to undo what the other one did. The number one reason, there are two reasons that the border flow has been so big under Biden. One is there was an implicit message to the hottest regions that come here seasonally that it would be easier under Biden than it was under Trump, that he would be more welcoming. One. Two is when the Biden administration came in, they undid the executive orders that Trump had in place that motivated home country agreements, which was where, and you can like this or not, but it works. The United States would pay a home country to process there. We'll pay, we'll set up the infrastructure, we'll build whatever you want. But don't have it happen here. Biden got rid of all of those. Now, that number does not reflect something that has happened in the last few months, which is we have seen a dip. Why? Lots of reasons. But one of them is he put those agreements back in place. He made, not all of them, not enough. Remain in Mexico is the one that you hear most often. That's a little bit of a token. Only 75,000 people went there. And I know that's real. It's 75,000 less than you would have had otherwise. But that wasn't what really did it. It was the whole network of them. Those are the two reasons they're bigger now. What I don't agree with is that the reason they're doing this is so that they have all these new voters that will feel grateful to them. No, I don't.
Did you hear what Chuck Schumer said today? Let me play this clip, Rob. Play the clip of Chuck Schumer. At least he ain't lying in this clip. Play this clip.
Because he says what you like.
No, it's not. No, but watch what he says. Watch what he says, because you're saying he doesn't, and obviously the motives, Chuck wouldn't lie, obviously. Rob, if you got it? Okay, go for it. Let's watch this.
Now more than ever, we're short of workers. We have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
I just love that. My favorite part of that is that he's using the old talking points. Like, no one's told him that we've updated this, we don't say this anymore. And even down to he used the old number. Like 11 million is what they used to say like 15 years ago. I know, but I'm just saying 11 million was always the estimate, but that was the estimate during like Obama's first term. They used to say 11 million, and then you add all these numbers and you're just like, hey guys, how is the number still the same?
No, they don't know the number.
Well, listen, here's the thing, right, Pat? And this was, and I remember this well, because I used to watch a lot of cable news during Obama's years, and during the Obama second term, I remember specifically, all over the place at CNN and MSNBC, they would just talk about this openly. And what they called it was the browning of America. Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow and Joe Biden and all types of big figures in the media and political class would brag about this. And they would say out loud that our plan here is that listen, look at the demographics. This was their term, demographics is destiny. And the Latino vote overwhelmingly supports Democrats, and they're the fastest growing demographic in this country. And so you do the math, what does that mean? It means Democratic majorities in perpetuity. And they were very open about this, that, hey, they used to say it about Mitt Romney when he was running. They were like, this is the last dying gasp of, the white majority in America, and soon you're going to be a minority, and you can just deal with whatever we want to do at that point. And then when Donald Trump came around and did something that nobody else in 2016 was going to do, which is he made immigration the center of his campaign. That was he rode down that escalator and gave that first speech that this is what we're going to do. We're going to build a wall and deport all illegal immigrants, and that was what his coalition was built around, and it took off and was wildly successful. And to be fair, much more than I thought it was going to be at the time. At the time, I didn't think that was going to be a rallying point the way it was. You live and you learn.
First time we've ever had an issue tie for number one with the American people. The economy
and
is
immigration
back in
right
number
now.
one now,
Well,
but
the
immigration was right
yeah,
there.
Yeah, and in some polls it was most polls economy number one, but immigration's always number two, and then a few had it at number one. But so Donald Trump came down and talked about this, that really, and then, and only then, was it that the people on MSNBC and CNN decided it was racist to bring up the browning of America. And then a few people started calling it the Great Replacement, and some of those people were like some pretty hardcore right-wing, guys. But then they were like, anybody who says this is a neo-Nazi, basically. And but I'm like, I remember hearing Joy Reid say this just a few years before she decided you were literally, I hear Joy Reid going, only neo-Nazis say this, and I'm like, bitch, I remember you saying this like a few years ago. But so, look, here's the thing, right? So then when Donald Trump comes down the escalator and he makes immigration the center point of his campaign, this is what, the entire establishment, the Democratic and Republican establishment, and most of the media class villainized him for. Look, he's a racist. He called all Mexicans rapists, even though that's not really what he said, but whatever. He called all Mexicans rapists, and he's this horrible racist guy, and they attacked him ruthlessly for this. Then he won the presidency. They attacked him ruthlessly for the kids in cages. Even when Politico was using pictures of cages Obama built, they still attacked Donald Trump for him, right? And now the very interesting dynamic is that partly because, as you said, 2020 was this crazy kind of exception year. So in that year, immigration actually was way down because no one was allowed to leave their house, so how the hell are you going to immigrate anywhere? And so it wasn't a major issue of the 2020 campaign. However, in the years since Joe Biden came in, and I think part of this is what I think you were kind of alluding to in your answer, is that regardless even of what the policy is, when you got the president who's on TV saying, build a wall, deport them all, and then you got another party who says, you're a horrible racist, and then that party gets in, it does kind of send a signal to the world, like, oh, the guys who are easy on immigration are in now. Now,
Right.
On top of that, there's all types of UN-funded NGOs that are like sponsoring these huge waves of people coming in. That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down.
There are a lot of employers
But
in America that sponsor
that's
them
true too.
coming in.
That's true too. There's always been a big business appetite for cheap labor, obviously, because big business likes cheap labor. But the interesting thing that we're living through this dynamic now is that the crisis has gotten so bad, and also with some savvy political maneuvering by some Republican governors where they've sent them into blue areas, and then as soon as the migrants get into blue sanctuary cities, they go, now it's a crisis, But now everybody essentially has recognized that this is an unsustainable crisis, and it's Donald Trump is in a position where he kind of wins the day on this issue because everybody in power demonized him for taking what now seems to be a fairly common sense position.
Well, he definitely wins the issue because Biden spent 3 years allowing him to own it as president of the United States when he could have done something. And again, I told you guys this earlier, even though I've been in this business a long time and it is a simple business, it's a soundbite business, it's an enragement business, I see a lot of layers to things very often. And 2 things, 3 things, 4 things can be true at the same time. We do need people to fill jobs in this country. We do need to have immigration that works for this country. You also have to have a southern border that's secure and processing. When you talk to the people on the southern border about what they want, what they need, the people who are doing the job, CBP, they never start with a wall, okay? What they start with is rule changes on what is asylum, because economic asylum is not asylum, and that's not what we're tied to under international law. We don't have to make it that. And they want rule changes, they want processing agents, they want places to put people, because they are under tremendous emotional strain with what they have to see and do every day, more than any other peace officers we have. That's what they want. And they want all the borders, but it's not just a wall, right? You need sensors in some places, you need drones, you need all this different stuff. And they want to double their manpower. Nobody gave that to them. That's not what Trump gave them. Why? Couldn't get it through Congress. Biden didn't give it to him. Why? Can't get it through Congress. Do you need people to come to this country? Yeah. Are they taking your jobs? No. They're jobs that are open because we don't want to fill them.
Also, by the way, to your point, Donald Trump for his first 2 years had Republican House and Senate,
He
and
couldn't
they
get it
still,
done.
and they still just to
Because
how
they're
you should feel
wasting
about
time trying to
Republicans.
repeal Obamacare. Why? Because that's what they thought the base wanted. That's my point about the pandemic, is you have to make them think that's what you want. Otherwise, they're not going to act on it. There's no upside to this. All right? Nobody wants to sit between these guys. Nobody wants to have themselves reviewed. Nobody wants anything, especially when they can't beat the other party with it. Immigration is a great issue because it allows, and the left has opened themselves up to this. If you don't want a bunch of brown voters who you think are beholden to you, then why are you doing this? And they don't have a good answer. So it opens the door to a theory about it being replacement. And Trump did talk about it in a way that was offensive and beneath the dignity of his office. This is a nation of immigrants. Yes, you have to come the right way. No question about that. But he was delivering a different message because there was reaction formation to what the left and the diversity crowd on the left was pushing, and it's called white fright. I probably get more in danger, especially when I was at CNN. I thought this was going to get me fired, this particular issue. I was wrong. But white fright is real, okay? And the response to that is, what's the matter? You don't like having to share your power? Is it sorry you're going to have to earn something now? Oh, that's what you're supposed to say. I say, but they believe this. There are a lot of white people in this country, and they believe that the culture is being redesigned to exclude them, and they think their kids can't get into schools, they think they won't get jobs, they think these things.
I don't know if they think those things. I mean, DEI is the law of the land.
No,
I mean, they're openly discriminated against.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they think it wrongly.
Yeah.
But
so,
you are
okay.
not allowed. You've never heard anybody talk about that on
Well,
the
listen,
media.
I'll just say this, okay? If you were to turn on the corporate media, you'll hear about whatever white fright or DEI or how there's such this racist portion of the country. Trump supporters are so racist. I don't know. I think from what I've gauged in this crowd so far, it's been a fairly Trump-friendly crowd. I don't know. Do you guys like Donald Trump? Okay. I see a bunch of races of people. I see this show is being hosted by an Iranian guy over here.
It's a huge insult. That's all right. We'll take.
No, I didn't say Persian. I didn't say Persian. I said Iranian, right?
Adam Nye,
whatever it is.
We have a
I'm
few
just saying,
Syrians in the house.
If you turn off cable news, turns out this country's actually pretty cool, and we're not that racist of a place to be in. And if they would stop provoking these racial conflicts, there really wouldn't be much.
I think the media is an echo of what you have two teams that are about. The reason that we're in the situation that we're in is that division is the best currency in politics.
Yep.
It works the best, okay? Enragement works in media, digital, linear, cable, doesn't matter. People being angry, they'll watch. They'll come in. Everybody's got a reason to be angry about something. The only thing that can happen in a two-party system is exactly what we're living. Zero sum. I can only win if he loses. It is way easier for me to make him lose than it is for me to prove to you that I am better. It's way easier to find something with him that's wrong. That's what they're doing. And it's been, you used earlier that this has been accelerating or evolving, this dynamic. I agree with you, but in reverse. I think it's a devolving. I think that this is a breaking down of civility, of decency, of compromise, cooperation. You say, I want to get into Congress, I want to get things done, I'm going to work with the other side. You are a dead man in a primary, especially on the right. That's what this is. The only antidote is bottom up. It will never happen top down.
Well, the thing is that we're in a collapsing empire right now, and that's our job is to try to right this ship. But we're in a late stage empire, and that's what America is. And this rarely comes up in corporate media, but the USA is the most powerful empire in the history of the world, and we are the global empire right now. But we're in the very late stages of that with all of the characteristics of a late stage empire. And what are those characteristics? Being way too expanded militarily, being very, very far in debt, and then what ultimately happens after that? The culture devolves into decadence. And that's why things are dumber than they've ever been before. And that's why, you have people, whether it's like a gay pride parade where two guys are like slapping their butt cheeks together and then they're going, we're standing up for our rights. Like, no, you're not. You're not fighting for rights. This is decadence. When you see, if you look back at, say, like William F. Buckley's firing line, when it would be William F. Buckley going at it with Gore Vidal, okay, well, just the level of intelligence there between that and like Sean Hannity going at it with Don Lemon, no offense. There's been a significant fall off. And I think that's what's going on all throughout the country. And what's happening is that the most powerful people are trying to pit us against each other so that we're constantly fighting in a culture war so that we never all get together and realize that, you know what the left wing and the right wing of the culture war have in common? Both of their dollars been destroyed by the Federal Reserve. Okay? But that never gets covered on CNN. You know what I mean? Like I never see like a big segment about that. Hey, how come all those years having the #1 CNN show, not one segment about the secrecy of the Federal Reserve, the secrecy of the CIA? Instead, all we get from the corporate media is, I don't know, the unvaccinated, the Trump supporter, the Biden supporter, pitting Americans against each other and all the while blaming the American people for these problems. When that's just not true. Most of the American people are good people. They want to take care of their family, go to work, be a member of their community, try to give their kids a little bit more than they had. That's what, and if we had a better media in this country, they would be laser focused on the halls of power and how corrupt they are. Because man, is there a lot of corruption going on at the top here.
Yeah, it's not fair to put it all in the media though.
No, I'm not putting it all.
The media.
How about a lot? I'm putting a lot of it on the media.
The media is an echo of society. What you see in the media. Okay, then tell me this. What do you watch? What do you watch? What do you watch? People watch what they like. People watch what confirms what they believe.
Yeah, but that's a really condescending way to look at people. Listen, let me just say something. So when I want to...
So you think you say a lot of things on your show because you think people aren't going to like them and they're not going to agree and they won't watch you anymore?
If you want to honestly ask this question, yes, there are a lot of times where I say things on my show that I know my audience will be upset with me for. There's a lot of times when I know there's positions where I could get way more eyes on me and grow my audience, but I don't take that position.
You are the most amenable libertarian I have ever talked to.
No, I'm just an honest person, man. And it's totally like, it's totally...
You are so insane.
No. But here's the problem, Chris. And maybe this is the problem. Maybe this is the problem with a lot of the attitude in the corporate media is that that's what you think of the American people. That you just want to listen to
people.
That's
you.
just
They're not libertarians.
But what you said before that was not about me, and that's what I was responding to. When you say that people just want to listen to whatever confirms their bias, I don't think that's actually true.
But that's what does well in the media. That's all I'm saying.
No, but I'm saying I don't think that's true. I disagree with you. So I'm saying I don't think that's true. But I don't think that Joe Rogan just confirms the bias of the people who listen to him.
Rogan,
and I don't think that
Joe Rogan has a unique platform. He is a unique figure within that world.
Yes, right. Okay. Anyway, listen. When I try to figure something out, like I've done like a bunch of like debates and shows about the war in Gaza right now. I've done like 8 debates on this topic. What I try to do in preparing for that is I read the smartest people on all sides of the issue.
And they told you
I'll
that
read,
Iran was shocked by what happened on October 7th?
No.
That's what the smartest people told you? Because I heard you say that on a show with Elika Laban.
Okay, well, let me just finish making the point that I'm making, and that actually, you know who said that? The CIA said that.
No,
but
they
anyway,
didn't.
let me get back
The CIA did not
let me
say
just get
Iran
into the
was in
point.
shock on October 7th.
Yes, okay. Anyway, let me get back to what I was saying.
Go ahead.
So I will read Benny Morris, who is a world-renowned historian, but is very much on the pro-Israel side. And then I will read John Mearsheimer, who is a big critic of the Israeli lobby and the current war here, and lots more people like that. I think there are lots of Americans who are smart about this stuff and who do actually search out people who have different views than them, especially intelligent people who have different views than them. And listen, man, I'll tell you this, for example, for me, if I just supported Donald Trump, and would just go, I'm on the Trump train, 2024, it would, I promise you, grow my audience, grow my bottom line, make me more money. I guarantee that 100%. The reason I don't...
Picking a side outright definitely helps.
Yes, no, right.
There's no
and
question.
the reason I don't do that is because I just don't see that the guy's learned anything from his last administration to this one, and I think we're going to have all the same problems in the next administration that we had in the last one. But for you to just say that, like, as if everybody who hosts a show, or if you're saying me, I host a show, I just tell my audience what they want to hear, that's just not true.
No, I don't mean that that's all you do. I'm saying that there is a proclivity, especially when you're a solo act doing things, and you bring guests on. Again, I've watched 19 hours of your stuff. I watched comedy, I watched the Skank thing, I watched what you do with all this
Dude,
stuff.
it's so awesome. I
watched
got
your
Chris
debate.
Cuomo watching Legion of Skanks.
I watched
in preparation for this podcast.
I watched the debate that you had about why you're a libertarian and you don't want to pay taxes and all this. And I would listen.
I
to
pay
all
my
of it.
taxes in case anyone's
You
listening
have
this.
to. You have to. That's
Yes.
why. So look, I want everything you're saying about people having curiosity and reaching across to be true. I just don't live it as a reality. Now, is it more true in my personal life than it is my professional life? Yes. Why? Because in our regular lives, we don't talk about most of the things that you see on cable news or politics. People don't talk about it as much. They talk about their kids, they talk about their interests and their passions, and whatever big things are happening. That's what they talk about. But once you get into Thunderdome, it's all about division all the time. So I'm at News Nation, right? Which I went to because I liked what the guy who runs it, this guy Perry Sook. He owns the most TV stations in the country, and he has this cable one now. He was like, look, I just want you to have people on from across the spectrum. Just have them on. I was like, oh man, it's going to get loud, you know. And he's, you know, that's not normal, the decorum that they want, you know. It's not the Legion, but I mean, it's, you know, it's usually, you don't want to have people going at it. The audience will say, I don't like when they talk over each other. Well, that's what happens when people have conflicting ideas. So I went there for it. And they're really trying. They're really trying to have people have a range of representation in terms of the people who are on camera being transparent about what they think about things. I think it's kind of dangerous for journalists. But I think that we've kind of evolved as a culture, not devolved, evolved where people want to know where the people on TV stand on the things that they're talking about. It used to be that you didn't want to know so that you could believe that I was just, you know, dealing with both sides. Now I believe you want to know, and then you'll see how I deal with both sides. But that's just my opinion. But I see the struggle that News Nation is having by not picking sides. And I see it in the ratings, and I see it in the trends of stories and how they're covered. You know, even this trial, if you are not, he's going down, or this is a travesty, this is the worst, you're not really getting a percentage of the audience. And I think that's part of the reality also. Now, do I believe that you can get past it?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Well, I do know about it. It's a fact.
I'll give you another fact.
Please. Alternative fact.
Just 5 years ago, Rogan had Bernie Sanders on. That's the guy he voted for.
Right.
And his positions have changed tremendously from where Bernie was then.
Yes.
To where he's at today.
Yes.
How come he hasn't lost following? I don't think it's about picking sides, guys. And I'm going to give it to you as well, and then we'll wrap up because we got to finish up. It's 9:07. We got to go to the lounge, cigar lounge, have a couple cigars, and have somebody go home and do their things. I think in regards to News Nation saying, well, we don't want people talking over each other. You know who proved that model wrong? That's Piers Morgan. He's killing everybody on TV and podcasts since October 7th. He's the #1 podcast from October 7th till now. TV show, what he's doing with his program and bringing everybody in, and Bassem Youssef, you had him on, we had him on, and oh my God, 38 million views. He took advantage of this. It was kind of like the Morton Downey Jr. to
Boston
back
should
in the
have
day.
a show. You guys know who he is?
Yeah. And then also
Funny,
going back to you, to Dave, I don't think it's about whether, I guarantee you if I go to Republican, I'm going to get more. I guarantee you if I go to this, I'm going to get more. I'm staying as libertarian, all this other stuff. I think there's also a level of growth for you, for me, for all of us. What do I mean by this? And Elon Musk was never a Republican. And Elon Musk was not a fan of Trump. And Elon Musk was a complete different guy, okay? He's got more popularity and trust today than he's ever had before. People are following him. He's doing what he's doing, right? He was a guy that was on the left. Then he saw the hypocrisy. Then he was a little bit more of a libertarian, but he realized, well, libertarian, you're just not going to win. Look who you guys just elected. That guy's not going to win. You know it. You can like him. He can be a nice guy.
No,
It's
Pat,
just-
he's going to be the next president of the United States.
Exactly.
of America.
Yes. So you have that part, but watch what they're doing now. And Elon Musk and Trump and Tucker. If somebody told you 8 years ago, 2016, how Tucker was thinking about Trump and the stuff that was leaking, and what Musk was thinking, that 8 years later there could be a unity between those, that's not called they're pandering to win more. I think they're sitting there saying, let me just finish my thoughts. I want to listen to you guys because we want to wrap up. I think that's more sitting there and saying, you got 4 years of Biden to look at now, almost 4 years. You got 4 years of Trump to look at now. If I'm sitting there and I got two people coming for a job interview, this guy comes here, so listen, I noticed the last 2 years you haven't worked. What happened? Oh, I had a sick family member I had to take care of, and it's been that's why I've taken 2 years off. Yeah, yes, or maybe, according to me having done thousands of interviews, you had a job that fired you. You don't want to put on your resume because you don't want me to make the reference call. That could be the case. Now, this other guy here, I look at his resume and I'm like, okay, while this guy was doing this, he's done this, he's done this, he's done this, he's won in media, he's won in business, he's won over here. Yeah, if I pick this guy versus this guy's resume, when this guy was in town, there was Russia, Ukraine, and we gave a bunch of money to Ukraine. He became the greatest beggar of all time, Zelensky. And Israel and Hamas, that went to shit. And then, let me see what else is going on. Economy, oh my God, the middle America is getting destroyed. The Max 7 is making all this money. Oh, look how much billionaires, these guys are making money. But I thought Democrats were for the poor and Republicans were for the rich, but most of the top billionaires worth over $100 billion, 80% of them are for the left. Why are they giving money to the left? I'm confused. But this guy over here, there used to be something we used to think about with ISIS. ISIS disappeared. There was no war. Nothing happened with Ukraine and Russia. Nothing happened with Israel and Hamas. In North Korea, Russia, Putin, Xi. Wait a minute. I got these two guys. And I know you guys like to say you have the worst of two. I don't think you do. I think one side, we have a resume that shows us results on what happened. This other side, we have a resume that shows us chaos. Chaos, complete chaos.
That is the exact word that the other side uses to describe the other resume, because you're leaving out who was in there at the time.
Did you hear what all those black people were saying?
All seven?
You think it's only seven? Did you
I
go
think-
to Bronx?
I think
Did you see
that-
how many
I
people
think
showed
that
up
if
to
he
Bronx?
gets
But
more-
wait a minute.
Yeah, I
minute.
did.
Okay, how
I
many
did.
people show up when Biden goes out there and campaigns?
Not as many, because does not have the celebrity value that Trump does.
It's not about not as many. I think what's happening in America, there's a part of it. If it was a Republican establishment candidate that was doing all of this bullshit that's taking place, taking advantage of the other guy, going after the guy on the left. So let's just say the other guy's an anti-establishment Democrat, RFK. Let's say RFK is the Democrat right now, and Trump is the Republican. And if Trump was the president today, and
Latest poll has Bobby beating Trump.
if Trump was the president today, and RFK was the former, and Trump was court, DOJ, documentation, everything, I'm willing to tell you, a lot of Republicans would have gone from here and said, listen, man, I just don't like the way you're treating RFK. I'm supporting RFK. I think there's a group of people right now as Democrats and libertarians that are saying, I'm sorry, this year I'm going this way.
I don't know
Well,
that
there's,
Democrats
I mean,
will do
just to back up your broader point there, I mean, there were hundreds of counties
I got a
across
clip
this
for you
country
to play
that
when you
went
say,
for
I don't think
Obama
Democrats, specifically
that then
for
went
him.
for Trump.
Yeah, let me say this. Go ahead, Dave. Finish your thought. I want to play this
he's
clip.
greatly discounting how much Trump makes people feel both ways. You have more voters than we've ever seen before say, there's nothing that could make me vote for this guy, and there's nothing that could make me not vote for this guy. We've never seen anything like that.
I think he's definitely the most polarizing figure in modern American history. I think he's probably less polarizing this election than he was in the 2020 election. And I think that's just because Joe Biden's done such a bad job.
I got to think about it. I think that with this New York thing really changed the dynamic for me. I see it being perceived differently. I think people really believe he's a victim, even when they say he did it, which again, I've never heard of before. I've never heard of people saying, yeah, he probably did it, but they shouldn't have done this to him.
Well, it's interesting in a way because I do think there's a point to that, right? That like even if Bill, you know that like if Bill Clinton had mishandled some classified documents, they weren't going to raid his home over it. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, he did, and they didn't. And I do think that Joe Biden had a pitch in 2020 that he doesn't have in 2024.
Right.
And his pitch in 2020 was, let's go back to normal. Look how crazy the last 4 years are. I've been the guy who's been in Congress for 17 centuries.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to normal old Joe Biden. COVID was that
totally
year,
right.
so he could not campaign much and kind of defend it by saying, hey, I'm being responsible.
It's always
and
different
following
when you
the
have a
signs.
record.
Now, but also I think there was a big narrative that was blown up, and I actually understand where a lot of people in the corporate press kind of embrace this narrative because I think it was a much easier one than to look at what was really going on. But I think they kind of felt like Donald Trump made things crazy. Like everything was kind of going along the way it was, and then here came this guy, Donald Trump, in 2016, and he made things crazy. When really, he was a symptom of the problem, not the cause of it. And you found that out when you removed him in 2020
Rob,
and
can
put
you
Joe
do me a
Biden in
favor?
there, and it was just as crazy.
Watch this clip here.
still
You said
is.
Democrats don't vote.
He
I
didn't
want
really
you, I
go
want you to
way
play
either,
this
though.
clip, Rob,
That's
if you
true.
got it.
And he does
Pull this
stir
clip
the
and then
pot
we'll
like
wrap
no
it
one
up
else
here.
I've ever
Go
heard.
ahead, guys. Watch this clip here.
Democrat. I voted Democrat. You Puerto Rican, you know, you're Spanish, you live in the hood, you're supposed to vote Democrat. But once you start waking up to, you know, the biggest mistake they did was mess with Trump because that woke up a lot of people. And what they're doing now is waking up even more people. So you would never guess all these people here for Trump. You would never see it before. You couldn't even see that in 2020. You wouldn't see it, but now you're seeing it. The worst thing they did is do what they do. What they doing to him is it's just making it easier for us to go on the other side. What they doing to us, the American people and the working class, you making us go somewhere else. You losing votes. I would never, ever, ever, ever vote for them ever again. Not locally, no state, federal, nothing. It was a lifelong.
And that's a Democrat. And there's a lot of people that I think feel that way right now in America. So anyways, gang, more than anything else, for all of you guys watching out there who are with us, we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're watching this, the way you get to vote for today's debate so far, because we got a bunch of other issues we got to talk about right now with Trump, convicted felon, migration, dual citizenship. I'm not done. We're just getting started right now. You get to vote by sending a Manect to Dave Smith and to Chris Cuomo, if you can put their Manect up. Ask him any questions, anything you agreed with, disagreed with, papers, articles, whatever it is. This is the way to get connected with them. They're both on Manect, and they actually get back to people very quickly.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.